Dead Rising, an action-adventure zombie game originally releasing back in 2006, then with the remake recently releasing in September, I was for sure jumping into this game on day one. The platinum itself consists of 51 trophies spread across 2 separate playthroughs, managing my time, saving as many survivors as possible, while also dealing with all manner of crazy bosses that we will surely encounter along the way. Speaking of time, let's not waste any more of yours. Welcome to Dead Rising's platinum playthrough. The game starts off with this mother and daughter taking a nice late night drive taking in the sights of Colorado. With a truck flying out of nowhere, they get taken out as all they can do is sit there waiting for the inevitable. We cut to Mr. Frank West, the main protagonist, who is a reporter trying to get a scoop of how this zombie's outbreak has happened. We arrive in Willamette, Colorado, where the entire town is just full of zombies and some not so fortunate survivors. But seeing as all we can do is just watch, let's take some pics, shall we? I mean, we are a photographer at the end of the day. Oh, our first trophy photojournalist. Huh, that's pretty easy. We fly over this massive mall, and after Ed promises to come pick us up 72 hours from now, we get swarmed by 3 military helicopters, so with no way to outmaneuver them, Frank does the first thing that comes to his mind. Damn, that man has got some solid hamstrings. We make it to our feet and bump into this senor, and although we ask him what's going on, he continues to act very suspicious but calm.
This, my friend, is hell.
Without any questions answered, looks like we gotta do some snooping around. But not before we get another trophy for arriving at the Willamette Mall, unlocking the Welcome to Hell trophy. Oh, finally some survivors who seem to be doing a good job in barricading themselves from the zombies. For some reason, Frank is just very overdramatic by the sound of the word zombies. How he didn't figure that out back in the helicopter is beyond me.
What? Did you just say zombies?
After being asked to find some more objects to block the main entrance, we do the exact opposite and take some more pictures. This time getting 50 target markers in one photo, giving us the group photo trophy. Say geez, zombies, or I guess brains? After finding this cranky old dude who seems to be on the wrong side of that gate, yeah, let's avoid him. He don't seem too happy. A commotion happens behind us as this wacko old lady is screaming for someone called Madonna. No, not the singer. She starts to move the barricades out of the way while shoving these 2 dudes off of her, which, may I say, if I ever need someone to back me up in a fight, I'm calling her. Now, not really sure why these zombies hadn't eaten her dog at this point, but they focus their attention on her instead, as they tear her to shreds, along with this poor guy. Come on, man, you have plenty of time to get up. Well, with the entire entrance flooded with zombies, we should really get to safety, right? One sec, let me just take another quick picture. This time getting 10 survivors in the picture, giving me the portraiture trophy. I think I said that right. With no choice but to save ourselves. No, not Brian Reynolds. We make it to some sort of security room, which this will be our main safe house of the game. The only people, unfortunately, that made it out alive were Brad, Jesse, and this janitor called Otis, who wastes no time in welding the doors shut so they can't get in. We can use this vent to reach them all from the rooftops, but before we head on, Jessie asks us if she can have a look at our photos. Stopping to stare at a photo of that old dude from earlier, she says she doesn't know who that is, which I ain't buying for 1 second. Unauthorized to tell us anything of who they are and what they're doing there, we head back into the mall. Now, one of the main features about the Dead Rising series are the survivors that you'll find at very different times throughout the game. Some you can just talk to and they will follow you to safety. Others, you need a specific request, like giving them an item for them to trust you. The other part is that you're always up against the clock, so you got to be really smart with your time management if you want to rescue everyone and make it out within the 3 days from now. Once you escort any survivors back to the security room, you'll get PP points. Which is the XP equivalent. So this will end up giving you better stats and moves every time you level up. As we progress further towards the mall, breaking our legs in the process, which, funny enough, gave me the free-fall trophy, Jessie scares the shit out of Frank as he almost knocks her the hell out, spraining her ankle and incapacitating her. Apparently Brad is in trouble and she was going to go look for him. And since this is kind of our fault for injuring her, well, Frank's, sorry, not mine, we decide to be the hero and go find Brad. Upon entering the mall, we can now pretty much do whatever we want, as long as we are quick with it. We can go looking for some new camera upgrades, browse the local clothes stores. By the way, this helmet really brings out Frank's smile, don't you think? Or we can just go on a massive zombie killing spree. Just a quick side note, anyone recognize this background music? Oh, Capcom, you sneaky bastards. We come across this guy called Kent, a fellow photographer, but he makes it annoyingly obvious that he is the superior one. Because of this, he shows us the different types of photos that you can take which rewards you with more PP points. As you saw earlier, there are many more trophies that involve taking various pictures of people, objects, and landmarks all around the mall. So if you see anything with the letters PP on it, make sure you snap a picture. We stop off at the food court where we get ambushed by a bunch of bullets, forcing us to take cover. I mean, I was hungry for a burger, but I guess I ain't getting that. We spot Brad and slide our way over to him to come up with a plan to tackle this problem. Brad offers to cover us, so we gotta get our aim together since this is technically the first boss fight of the game. But in this game, they are called Psychos, which you'll find out why later. Turns out Carlito was the dude that we met on the rooftop. Told you he was acting weird. Now he is lighting us up with an SMG. He ain't hard to beat though, since with a few well-aimed shots, he ends up making his escape as he zips away. We regroup with Brad, who doesn't seem too up for celebrating since he doesn't want anything to do with us. Oh, my bad. Not like I just saved your life or anything. Don't worry though, since Frank teases him with a picture from that old dude, which he now seems to take some sort of interest. Brad says that he and Jesse are part of Homeland Security and their job is to find this dude. We do actually manage to find this Dr. Barnaby, but he is very stuck on staying right where he is until he's promised a safe route out. So we head back to Jesse so we can call for some backup. So as I mentioned earlier, this game's bosses are called Psychos, which appear randomly throughout the game. Some of them are flat out creepy and gruesome, but these prisoners are a nice start for when the chaos happens. Meaning I was struggling already, so I don't have high hopes for the rest of the bosses. On our way back to the security room, we come across some sort of evil looking wasp, which Frank swats out of the air and starts to stomp on it. We then see the zombies around us start to shake and lose control, before they fall to the floor and then their head starts exploding. That was very odd. Anyway, after finding out the signal to reach any sort of help is blocked, Frank offers them his ride for when it leaves 3 days from now. So to pass some time, I head on out to complete some more tasks. Now, we find this guy called Adam, a creepy ass clown that does an amazing Mickey Mouse impression.
Everyone used to laugh at me.
See, I don't mind clowns, but not when they've got dual chainsaws, which I do not want to be on the end of. So we get enough hits in while avoiding his attacks and defeat him, unlocking the self-defense trophy. Notice how I didn't say kill, since he actually rips himself apart, but, you know, seems to enjoy it. Also, make sure that you're photographing as many psychos as you can, since there is another trophy for that later on. Speaking of trophies, using Adam's card, you can save this Greg guy who is trapped on the space ride, which he will then guide you to a shortcut. Once reaching it, you'll get the Mall Worker trophy as well. After forwarding the time to the next day, we spot Carlito dragging a helpless Dr. Barnaby on one of the security monitors. Brad leaves to find them, so we follow shortly after. We return back to the entrance plaza where we get pinned down by Carlito and with his brand new Barrett 50 cal sniper. Maybe he's a Modern Warfare fan just like myself. With a tied up and hung up Barnaby, we reach the upper floor and defeat Carlito for a second time. But just like the first time, he manages to escape. So with an unconscious doctor and a limping Brad, we somehow make it back with no problems. But we can't stick around though, since he starts to develop a fever, so we gotta go find some medicine to help him. Apparently located somewhere in the mall supermarket. As we make our way there, we of course help any survivors that we find along the way, but whilst doing that, I managed to find my 5th costume of the game, which unlocks the Sharp Dresser trophy. Now those are some nice ass kicks, Frank. Arriving at the supermarket, the only thing I have on my shopping list is a first aid kit, but it's locked away. Is there a manager around here that I can speak to? Oh, hello Stephen. Looks like he is giving that girl a fun trolley ride. Loved doing that as a kid. By the way though, during this fight, he is one of the funniest ragdoll animations I've ever seen. It's just so unnecessary, but funny at the same time. In the end, we put him down, and with his last few words, register sticks ain't gonna be clean for a while, mate. We rescue the woman and help her to her feet, but she starts to act very uneasy around us as she starts to blame us for this entire thing. So maybe there is something that Jesse and Brad aren't telling us. We return to give Brad the first aid kit, which stabilizes his gunshot wounds. Then, to see that Dr. Barnaby has awoken, still yelling stuff about this Santa Cabeza place, but before Jesse can get any info out of him, he gets startled by Frank, so we leave them to their talk. We decide to make it our goal of finding that woman that we found in the supermarket, but before we do that, we have a bit of time to kill, so let's get some more tasks done, shall we? More importantly, some more trophies to obtain. So we find this Ronald guy, where after giving him some food, because apparently he hasn't already eaten enough, we take a picture of him burping and manage to get the Artiste trophy for scoring 10,000 PP on a picture. Next up, we run into this sexy senorita. Looks like we got a bit of bad cop going on over here. Lucky Frank. She has 4 female survivors tied up, which is important since they count towards a trophy that I'll get much later on. So we slice her up with my cutting edge katana, then we make sure to grab a picture of her, which gives us the Psycho Photo trophy for photographing 4 psychos. Then, as I'm trying to save these 2 survivors who are just too busy hanging out, we snap another picture, giving us the PP Photo trophy for photographing 10 PP stickers. These are the 100 images that you'll see in the pause menu, so I got this out of luck, but you'll need all 100 for another trophy later on. Then, whilst heading back to the security room, we are greeted with this cult-looking group with their scary masks and raincoats. Plus this guy wanting to perform a sacrifice on poor old Jennifer. He ends up running off, so we snap yet another picture getting the senseless taker trophy for photographing 30 survivors. Damn, I'm going to need some more film for this camera at this rate. Then, after rescuing Jennifer, I got the tour guide trophy for escorting 8 survivors at once. Then finally, to end this spree of trophies, this zombie was ignoring me, so I fired my 300th bullet and got the bullet point trophy. Okay, so I may have missed these 2 trophies while writing the script out, so my bad. Let's get them done quickly. So once you kill all 3 of the prisoners, you can then actually hijack their vehicle, and that will give you the carjacker trophy. And shortly after that, along the way, you'll continue to see many cult members in different locations. They aren't difficult to kill as you saw earlier, but make sure you kill at least 100 of them, because then you'll unlock the no thank you trophy. We catch Isabella leaving the supermarket, which she tries to escape us, so I'm sorry for any motorbike lovers and owners, but I'm going to have to leave some dents. Along with her terrible driving, she isn't really much of a challenge as Frank pummels her with this pipe, and finally we can now have a proper conversation since she agrees not to run away. She mentions that this zombie outbreak is because of us. Well, that's according to Carlito. Then after asking to know where Carlito is, she agrees to bring him to us since she can persuade him, you know, being his little sister and all. She leaves her motorbike with us, so let's give it a go, shall we? Oh, the stunt rider trophy. Yeah, I mean, I meant to do that. Maybe I'll just stick to running. We meet back up with Isabella to see her by herself, limping and covered in blood by a bullet shot by Carlito. He apparently doesn't trust anyone, so she was unable to persuade him. Collapsing in Frank's arms, we take her back to the security room to get her patched up. We quickly slip into a new outfit, since it's time to see if there are any good movies on at the cinema. This wasn't exactly what I was thinking of, but hey, I ain't opposed to a live action movie. Now, this boss fight is pretty much the same compared to all the other psychos, but I wanted to highlight this one because his death is very gruesome.
I beseech thee.
Also, he has 5 survivors that you can rescue, so make sure you save them all. Returning to see that she is awake, she tells us that there was an American research facility in Santa Cabeza, doing research on those parasitic wasps, which was run by Dr. Barnaby. Oh, that's handy. He's right here, though. Wait, what's that noise? After kicking him off Jesse, we can see that he is starting to turn, so he spills everything. To make things a bit more simple, they were trying to reduce the cost of breeding cows because of the amount of meat that people consume. So whilst testing this parasite, they made zombie livestock, and things went south from there. So because of Santa Cabeza being Carlito and Isabella's hometown, he took revenge and released the parasite here. Then the reason that Brad and Jesse are there is because the zombie outbreak in Santa Cabeza was covered up as a drug trade. Hence why Brad has been wanting Carlito this entire time. Yeah, maybe that wasn't so simple. After squirming around on the floor, Dr. Barnaby dies, and with our back to him, Brad kills the zombie doctor with a bullet to the brain. Brad then agrees to a somewhat truce as he lets Isabella tend to Jesse so she can check for any bite marks. Whilst we have a little bit of time to spare, I headed outside to grab the prisoner's cart because it's the best method of killing zombies. So firstly, I got 500 kills with the vehicle, which gave me the road rage trophy. Then shortly after, I killed 1,000 zombies, which also unlocked the zombie hunter trophy. Also, I want to give a quick mention to this psycho encounter with Paul. After defeating him, you have a chance to save him by putting out the fire. Now, I've never used a fire extinguisher before. Maybe there's a reason for that. Isabella then remembers about Carlito's last resort, meaning if he was ever cornered, he was basically going to blow up the mall. Well, couldn't have told us that earlier, Isabella. Thanks. With bombs and flammable gas filling the maintenance tunnels, it would send the larvae into the atmosphere, pretty much infecting the entire country. So why don't we stop rambling and let's get to bomb defusing? Wait, actually, scratch that. I gotta go meet up with Kent again. So this is the 3rd and final time you see him, but this time he's kind of crossed the line, since, you know, he really wants to best Frank in his photography skills. How's he gonna do that, you ask? Oh, just by infecting this tied up survivor with this disgusting looking parasite. Don't worry though, I was in the correct outfit to squish this bug. Obviously, Kent isn't happy with this, and it actually turns into a psycho boss fight. Not gonna lie, by this point, I could tell that Kent was just a little bit crazy. Again, not a difficult fight, apart from this flying kick that he caught me with a few times though. But we proved why we were the better photographer and killed him, which gave us the Punisher trophy for defeating 10 psychos. We make our way down to the maintenance tunnels to take out the 5 bombs, which is fairly easy since there are vehicles there for you to get around them quickly. During that sequence, Isabella calls us, and since this is our 30th call, I got the Transmissionary trophy. After picking up the 5th bomb and seeing possibly the funniest scene in the game, I think the outfit really helped with this one. We see another confrontation between Brad and Carlito, but this time Brad lands a bullet on him. Shortly after, then taking a knife stab to the back and being kicked out into the sight of some hungry zombies. I'm not sure how you're getting out of this one, Brad.
Well, shit.
The bombs then explode outside, so that's a job well done. Well, kind of. Now, although you're supposed to head back to Jesse as part of the story, I'm wanting to know what happened to Brad. So heading back to his last known location, we actually find him laying on the floor with a massive chunk taken out of his stomach. Realizing that there is nothing we can really do for him, we have no other choice but to let him die. That unlocks the Snuff Shot B trophy. So we do what we have to do by killing zombie Brad. Frank keeps this to himself since he is more interested in knowing if Carlito has anything else up his sleeve. Isabella knows of his computer he has inside his hideout, so she agrees to take us there. Damn it, of course his laptop is password protected, and since there is a jamming device blocking any sort of chance of calling for help, we need to figure out what it is. After getting another call from Jessie asking us to come all the way back, since she has seen something interesting on the monitors, wait, how many times am I going to have to run back there? We make a quick stop into the Children's Castle store, since you can use these helmets by putting them on the zombies. So having 10 zombies looking as stylish as ever, you'll end up getting the Costume Party trophy. We spot Carlito being dragged towards this meat processing area. So once getting down there, we are greeted by this chunky boy, who loves good meat, as any butcher should. But since we need him to not slice up Carlito, as much as I know I would enjoy seeing that happen, we gotta get past Larry first. Apart from whacking me with his cleaver and also his meat, we chase him down, and after some more swings from our katana, we put him down for good. Kind of wish he would have like tricked into a meat grinder or something like that, but no, he just dies on the floor. Now that's a missed opportunity for that. We rush over to a dying Carlito, who rambles on about his revenge for the Santa Cabeza event. Refusing to give us the password, he rips off his necklace, requesting us to give it to Isabella before succumbing to his gunshot wound. Lucky for us though, we return it to Isabella, who figures out that the password being Pachamama, a word that their parents said a lot. So with Carlito dead, the jammer disabled, and Jesse contacting HQ confirming our escape out of here, we head back for a final time.
Special forces will arrive for cleanup at midnight. They'll take everyone out. Zombies, people, everyone.
Well, shit. I swear in every zombie game or movie, the military are always the bad guys. They turn up to take Jessie into custody, but she has other plans of her own, as the other soldier checks on them to find out that Jessie has also turned too. I can only think that Dr. Barnaby infected her earlier whilst being interrogated, since she had no visible bite mark. Also, that's a really weird and overdramatic angle of her. Returning to find everyone dead and then zombie Jessie, we do get the Snuff Shot J trophy. Also reading a note left from Otis saying that they snatched all of the survivors, so he stole a helicopter and escaped. Wow, thanks Otis. Well, looks like it's just Frank and Isabella now. So with the clock hitting 12 PM, for a minute we think that Ed isn't coming, but we do hear something in the background. Ed, I'm over here. Well, at least someone's happy. Oh shit, mate, where did that zombie come from? Losing control of the helicopter, they end up crashing, leaving Frank to pretty much just sit there with a defeated look as the zombies close in on him. Then, weirdly, the game ends just like that. We do get 3 trophies though. The Humanist trophy for getting 10 survivors out of the mall, the 3-day Survivor trophy for, well, surviving 72 hours, and also the Overtime trophy for completing all cases and arriving at the helipad at noon. So there you have it. That is the end of Dead Rising. Ha! You thought that was it. Nope. Isabella ends up saving Frank, but collapses before she can do anything else. Frank wakes up back in his hideout. Not sure how she was able to carry him all the way back there, but hey, we're here. Unfortunately though, Frank is infected. Again, another infection that I'm not really sure how that happens. If any of you do know, tell me, since that will clear things up. Lucky for Frank though, Isabella knows of a way to possibly impede the infection, which requires many ingredients, plus some adult queens for it to work. Seems simple enough, right?
Hang on a sec. I don't understand a word you just said.
Well, it would be if there weren't soldiers walking around the mall taking out any zombies and people that they see. Plus, if you get captured by them, you lose all of your items and a lot of time, so be careful with them. Your best bet is getting close to them and then meleeing them, since you can actually one-shot them. By doing this, I managed to defeat 10 of them, which gave me the legendary soldier trophy. After bringing all of the items to Isabella, she then requires a working generator, which she remembers seeing one over by the clock tower, along with the helicopter wreckage, which has seemed to make a hole in the side of it. Oh, and it's just filled to the brim with zombies. Yeah, let's not go down there anytime soon. There is also a helicopter patrolling the skies, which, may I say, I hit this shot first time. It's like the best thing I've ever done in a video game. And I got the helicopter trophy as a nice reward. Upon returning with the generator, now we need to go and get 5 queens. A bit of an annoying mission since they spawn randomly on zombies. But whilst I was doing this, I got the marathon runner trophy for running 26.2 miles. For the final final time we get back to Isabella, and once she makes the suppressant, she injects us, and I guess for the time being, we don't really have to worry about turning. Pretty sure this is the very first ever form of Zombrex from the other Dead Rising games, but I may be wrong. She also mentions that she can possibly make a different suppressant which would act as a pheromone, basically making us invisible to zombies. So with a plan of escape, we can now slip through that tunnel under the clock tower without any harm coming to us. And as you can see, there is a F-ton of them, so good thing that this thing works. I also have my RPG still on me, so I thought I put it to good use. Luckily, I got 100 kills with it, which gave me the Rampage trophy. So with some good teamwork, they squeeze through the thousands of zombies, and we see daylight as they reach the end of the tunnel. So with a set of working wheels, it looks like we're out of here. Apart from this effing tank that's in our way, surely there must be some sort of hidden reason why they're throwing this much manpower just to stop us. So being an armored tank, you think it would take ages to destroy? Not really. It's probably the easiest fight of the game. As long as you're accurate, you'll have no problem with destroying it in under a minute. We do end up getting our vehicle flipped and immobilized by the tank, as then the hatch opens and this guy driving the tank reveals himself. Dude's looking like General Krantz from Prison Break. Thing is though, he is the one who led the mission of killing all those innocent people back in Santa Cabeza. And he ain't stopping here, so we gotta get ready for a fist fight. Now, although the soundtrack for this is catchy as hell, it's a pretty lackluster final boss fight. Since you can't really connect many good punches on him, you kind of have to cheese it with these running spinning kicks, which is what I did. Otherwise, you get stuck in a long flurry of attacks. So once we get him to pretty much no health, Frank finishes him off with an intestine shot, which collapses him into the horde of zombies, ready to be their last final meal. Then, with Frank letting out one final battle roar, the credits roll, and now that is the end of Dead Rising. We do get some added information to kind of clear up Frank's story, like how he makes it out with Willamette with the evidence that he needed, the US government admitting that they are partly to blame for the livestock research program, but then anything relating to the Willamette incident was just claimed as an act of terrorism, which over time people let fade from their memories. Lastly, we then managed to get the Infinity Mode trophy for getting the true ending to end off the main story. So with the 32 trophies out of the 51 required, our next goal is to pick up all the missable trophies before tackling some of the more grindy / time consuming trophies. So to start off nice and easy, by starting up a New Game Plus playthrough, which I highly recommend, you'll get the Never Give Up trophy. Next up we have Juice Freak, where you have to make at least one of all the 6 different types of juices, using ingredients that you can find around the mall. So once I made the 6th drink, the trophy pops. Next, we have 2 creative and very entertaining trophies. The first being Nice Shot, where you have to yeet a golf ball 100 meters, so I sent that bitch to the moon. Then I got the Strike trophy for sending 5 zombies flying with a bowling ball. Luckily they all crowd around in this one spot, so I wasn't missing them. Then because I started the New Game Plus run earlier, I gradually leveled up to level 50, which unlocked the level max trophy. Then a slightly more grindy trophy being the PP collector trophy, where you have to photograph all 100 PP stickers. May seem like a lot, but every image has the name of the location to make it easy to find. There is only one sticker that is hidden, but all it is a picture of the security room vent, which you must take a picture of for a mission anyway. Then to finish off all of the collectible light trophies, I was only missing 2 people from my notebook, which happened to be both survivors, luckily enough. So after bumping into this Kindle person, then shortly after saving Cheryl from being locked inside this movie theatre, I obtained the full set trophy. Next up, in the Al Fresca area, you can find these parasols which you can use to bonk the zombies. And once you've bonked 10 of them, you'll get the Raining Zombies trophy. Right, that was a lot of trophies done. Let's take a little break and do some clothes shopping, shall we? Man, Frank does look good in the dress, I can't lie. Once we then chucked on the final piece of clothing, I got the Clothes Horse trophy.
Right.
Next up, we gotta smash some things. 30 things to be precise. These barrels can be found in the food court and they break within 1 hit on a zombie. Then you simply exit and re-enter the area to respawn them, and then once you've broken the 30th barrel, you'll get the Item Smasher trophy. Right, we're gonna need to channel our inner Jackie Chan for this next one, being Karate Champ, which is for defeating 30 soldiers barehanded. As I said before during the story, they can be very damaging, but using the R1 and X ability, it one-shots them when you're right up in their face. Next up is the Zombie Road trophy, which is using the Zombie Ride ability for a total of 10 meters. This ability allows you to walk on the backs of zombies, but it can be quite finicky. I decided the best place to do it would be in the tunnel at the end of the game, since there are thousands of zombies walking all over the place. Then finally, during this second playthrough, I made sure I saved every survivor, so for when I reached the end of the game, it popped the Saint trophy for saving 50 survivors. That's one of the harder ones, since you've got to be fast with getting to every person and making sure that they don't die. If they do die, then you can just reload the most recent checkpoint. Right, now I know know that was a lot of trophies I just ticked off, but the last 5 that I have to get to obtain the platinum require a little bit more patience and some more thought. So the Dead Rising games are very well known for their zombie killing trophies, where in this instance, the next 2 trophies I went for required me to kill 10,000 zombies and then a whopping 53,594 zombies. So the easiest way of getting these kills is by running them over down in the maintenance tunnels, grabbing a new vehicle once the old one breaks, and pretty much repeating the process. It's just one of those long grindy trophies, but for me, it only took me just over 3 hours, which wasn't as bad as I thought. So of course, once we hit 10,000 zombies, the Zombie Killer trophy popped, and then a couple hours later, the Zombie Annihilator trophy unlocked. Yes, before you ask, I know the number in the bottom right corner says completely different, but in fact the kills carry over multiple playthroughs, but the number just doesn't update. Next up, we have a slightly more complex trophy called the Ungrateful 8, where it's similar to the tour guide trophy from earlier, but this time all 8 survivors need to be women. There is a precise step-by-step guide to this where you have to kill every single survivor up until when you save Pamela and Heather. Then you have to save the 4 women who are tied up after killing Joe the cop. Then with these 2 survivors hanging around, we have to save Sally, but also in the process we have to kill Nick, since you can only have 8 people follow you at the same time. Then the last female survivor we get by killing all the cultists, as you see saving Jennifer, which then pops the trophy. Finally, to end off this platinum playthrough, we have the 5 and 7 day survivor trophies, which, may I say, have been massively nerfed compared to how they were in the OG Dead Rising. So the Infinity mode allows you to run around Willamette for as long as you want, but your health does start to tick away as time goes on. With there only being limited food supplies, grabbing the 3 different health magazines will fully heal you. But don't fret, the best thing about this remake is that you can skip time using the bathrooms, and then once your health ticks to the final square, you heal yourself and repeat the process. Now, this wasn't a thing in the OG, and I've heard that it can take up to 14 hours to get both of these trophies. Just to make it even worse, you had to do it in just one sitting. Yep, you heard me, and there was no saving and continuing the next day. So I used the advanced time option instead. So looking back at my recording, I got the 5-day survivor trophy around about the 50-minute mark, and then 20 minutes later we survived the 7th day, which popped the 7-day survivor trophy, and then finally with that we got the Goodbye Willamette Platinum trophy. It is indeed goodbye to Willamette and goodbye to Frank. Well, we might see him in a future Dead Rising Platinum video maybe. As far as remakes go, I really enjoyed this one. Capcom did a great job of retaining the charm of the original and keeping that wacky fun gameplay. Combine that with the improved graphics and better controls, it really kept things feeling fresh throughout the entire game. If their plan is to continue remaking more of the Dead Rising series, you can bet that I'm going to be all over that. In terms of what is next on the Platinum schedule, it will be The Last of Us Part 2, which has been very challenging but a lot of fun. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. If you're interested in some more Platinum playthroughs, then check them out right here. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.